hands-on with the $500 Universal Audio Aero audio interface. So the UA Aero just recently launched, and we got our hands on one and we're going to try it out right now. So let's go ahead and unbox it. Very simple unboxing, not a lot to it, not a lot of fluff. You basically just have the UA Aero inside. Just peel this little protective layer off. And here's the unit. Set that aside right now. The only thing else in the box is this little card to help you to get started, and that's it. So here is the UA Aero. It is an all aluminum audio interface that features for the very first time from a UA product, Thunderbolt 3 connectivity. And it's bus powered as well. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But basically, here's what it looks like up close and personal. It looks good, folks. What can I say? Let's talk about it a little bit more in depth right now. So this is the UA Aero from Universal Audio, and although it's very early in the year, I can already tell that this is going to be one of my top products of 2018. There are several reasons why I really like this device. For starters, the build quality is excellent. It's an all aluminum design and it feels solid to the touch. Now the unit weighs roughly 2 pounds or so, but you also have this non-slip material on the bottom of the device to keep it from sliding around on your desk. Now I'm not super picky when it comes to interfaces, but I do have some requirements, and my number one requirement from a design perspective is that the XLR inputs be on the rear of the device so that you don't have XLR cables straddled all across your desk. Now that may not matter to some of you, it may seem nitpicky, but for me it's a big feature. I like to keep my desk as clean as possible, and not every audio interface has this design, so keep that in mind. Now for the very first time on one of its audio interfaces, Universal Audio has adopted Thunderbolt 3 on the Aero. And this is a big deal obviously for MacBook Pro users and iMac users because of course those devices have Thunderbolt 3 connectivity. But what's really cool about the Aero is that this thing is completely bus powered. So you don't need a separate power cable to get started. You just simply plug in a Thunderbolt 3 cable from your Mac and you're ready to go. That's awesome. So build quality wise and design wise, this device is solid. I am extremely happy with the initial impressions when it comes to design and build quality. But how does it sound? Well, we will answer that question in just a moment, but first of all, we need to connect it to our iMac Pro. And we do so using a single Thunderbolt 3 cable. Now that cable is not included in the box, unfortunately, so you will have to provide your own. Once it's connected, you'll see it fire right up. Again, it's bus powered, so no need for a separate power connector. And then I connect my microphone as well using XLR. Now the hardware interface is brilliant as far as using this thing is concerned. It's extremely streamlined and very easy to pick up and learn. It's obviously dominated by this multi-function encoder wheel. And basically it's like a click wheel like the old iPods had. So you can turn it obviously to adjust the volume. Right now it's controlling the monitors. I don't have any monitors connected, but if I did, it would control the monitors like that. You can see the animation for the volume, just turn it, but you can also click in on it to mute the monitors, just like that. That's pretty cool. So you can click in like that. And then if you want to switch over to your headphones, you just click where it says monitor here. And now you're controlling the headphones, and you can just control the volume of your headphones just like that. Super simple, super easy. But now you can also use that same wheel to control the preamp. So if you click preamp, now you're connected to your microphone on channel 1, and you can change the mic volume like that. So you can see as I turn this up and as I talk, you can see the levels are higher as it gets louder, more sensitive. And now if I turn it all the way down, obviously there's no levels. So pretty cool. Now if I click in on the multifunction encoder wheel, it's going to basically just switch channels. So if I had something connected to the second XLR input, I would be able to control the volume for that as well. You can also just click preamp to switch channels as well. So you can see the difference. Channel 2, channel 1, you can see the volume levels are different between the two, just like that. Now, if you head over to the left side of the device, you see several other additional buttons. We won't go super in depth with these, but basically the input button is a big one. You can switch between microphone and line input like that. You also have your high pass filter, you have phantom power, and some other functions as well. And while the hardware interface is extremely simple and very easy to control, the real story is the software. The software can be used to control the device, but not just that. Universal Audio includes 14 different plugins that can really shape your music and really shape your voice to sound absolutely incredible. And that's where this device really shines. It's the software implementation and how you can use the various plugins to shape your music. So let's talk about that right now. Okay, so let's start out with the Uad Meter, which allows you to monitor the device's resources. Since this is a budget model, you only get one DSP core, which is going to limit the amount of plugins that you can use simultaneously. So you have to kind of monitor that if you're using a bunch of plugins. But for my workflow, where I'm just doing voiceovers, that really doesn't apply because I just use a limited amount of plugins. But you can see there's tons of plugins to choose from, and there's also 14 free plugins included with your Aero. And these aren't just some generic fly-by-night plugins that they just included just to appease customers, but these are really, really good plugins that sound great. And for the most part, I think I'm just gonna be fine with those 14 included. I may purchase a de-esser, but other than that, I think I should be good with that just for voiceovers. So here is the console interface where you can go and configure the UA Aero, insert your various plugins, customize those plugins to your liking, even save your settings so that you never lose those settings. And you can make these plugins so that they're baked in to your microphone input. So it's basically sort of like a 3D LUT being baked in to a video, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. But anyway, once you've customized to your liking, you can bake that sound into your recordings, and it basically just changes the dynamics of your microphone to sound awesome. I'm gonna show you or let you hear some before and after clips here in just a second, but you can see the various plugins I have, compressors, I have a de-esser there, and I can go in and configure all those to my liking, get them sounding just right, and then save that as a custom setting. The great thing about this is say you accidentally hit a knob or flip a switch, you don't have to worry about losing your configuration. You just simply go in, save, and then once you save, you can always load that setting back in, load those plugins back in exactly how you had them configured. It really is nice. I can't speak enough about how nice that is to not even have to worry about, oh, am I gonna lose my configuration? Will I forget something? No, don't worry about it. Save and load back in. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you get free trials to the paid plugins. So if you wanna try these out, you can do so before committing. And you can just add those and insert those onto your channel strip just like that. So ladies and gentlemen, this is an absolutely amazing piece of software, and really this is what makes the UA Aero shine, the fact that you can customize in software and it works together so cohesively with the hardware, and it's just a seamless, for the most part, a seamless process. Now, you can also use these plugins directly within apps like Final Cut Pro 10, but my experience with that has been mixed. I received several errors when doing so. Granted, this could have been user error because I am new with Universal Audio products, but it seemed to me that it was easier to run out of resources and to receive errors when using these plugins as effects in Final Cut Pro 10 instead of just applying them in real time to the microphone. So the real question is, how big of a difference can the Universal Audio Aero make with something as simple as a voiceover? In my circumstance, I would just be using this for voiceovers. So let me let you see right now. Right now, I don't have any of the plugins enabled. All of my inserts are off, as you can see here. So I'm gonna go to inserts. I'm just gonna turn all these on one by one, and you can tell the difference once I've done that. So this is before, and this is after. Okay, so now you hear the difference there. Wouldn't you say that's a pretty stark difference between what it sounded like before and what it sounds like with the plugins enabled? I think so. I think it sounds better. I could probably tweak it a little bit to make it sound a little bit better, but me being a newbie and me just testing this out for a few hours, I think it sounds really, really good, and I'm extremely happy with the Universal Audio Aero. Plan on using this thing for a long time coming, I can tell you that right now. If you appreciated this video, please leave us a thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe for more videos. This is Jeff with the 9to5Mac.